Bank of America is the best performing bank stock over the last 10 years. What is their secret and why is Warren Buffett using them as his doomsday weapon? First of all, I wanted to show you how important is Bank of America in Warren Buffett's portfolio. So first of all, Apple is his biggest position by far, 41%, and you would know that if you were subscribed to this channel. So overall, Buffett's portfolio is very much tech oriented, and another thing we've been talking about. But second position, very important, Bank of America with 14%. That is the biggest position after Apple, and the only position with more than 10% of the overall portfolio. So why is Warren Buffett liking Bank of America so much? Well, Bank of America holds many secrets, and that's what we're gonna have a look at right now. Well, the first thing, and that is something that is very recurring in Warren Buffett's portfolio, Bank of America pays a dividend, and it's been constant, and instead actually not just constant, it's been growing over the years very steadily. As you can see, it's been moving from 0.15 cent per share all the way up to 0.21, and the yield has been, floating about, but it's now quite good, 2.18%. But if you knew all bank stocks, you'd know that JP Morgan is actually paying a higher dividend. So why is Warren Buffett so much into Bank of America? Well, let me show you. Well, if you don't know, JP Morgan is actually another good company, another good bank. If you look at their dividend yield, is actually higher, and also the amount of money they pay per share is actually higher. So why is Warren Buffett so much into Bank of America and not JP Morgan? But that is not an answer. That is another reason why Warren Buffett should actually buy JP Morgan right now. Actually, the answer is a bit more nuanced, so let's have a look at it right now. So these are the revenues for Bank of America going forward. So one thing that you will notice, and that is very important, very interesting to look at, is the amount of growth. That is great. These numbers have been growing, and just looking at this chart, it shows the growth over the last months, and because this is a quarterly report, so you see that the growth has been quite steady, has been slowing down a little bit at the beginning of the year, but in the last quarter that came out actually a few days ago, the company has actually shown some good revenue growth, very important for Warren Buffett and for the overall market. And so are we saying that Bank of America is actually growing faster than JP Morgan? JP Morgan has actually grown so much that is now struggling to go even further. And these are quarterly reports that we have. So the revenues have been moving up and down quite a lot. But as you can see, the overall revenue stream has been actually going down over the last few quarters. And so comparing JP Morgan and Bank of America, you see that JP Morgan is actually the leader, the one bank with the highest revenue on the whole planet. Yes, guys, the biggest bank. And then Bank of America is a bit more of an underdog, maybe undervalued if compared to JP Morgan. And so Warren Buffett is actually looking at this company, Bank of America, as a potential way to take a bit more risk compared to JP Morgan, but at the same time taking advantage of something that I'm just gonna show you. And this is the reason why Warren Buffett looks at banks, and Bank of America in particular, as his doomsday device. Now, this is an article on Bank of America revenue, and it's a whole breakdown, and we're looking at the last year. But what's really important is that this is a bank, and the bank, what they do mostly is they lend money for an interest rate. And just cutting to the chase, you see that their interest rate at the moment has been very low, and that is due to the Fed cutting the interest rates. And that's something that was very much the case, and it's still very much the case at the time of recording, and it's about to change quite a lot. So the impact of lower rates is something that actually creates more problems for banks. But things are about to change very much, not only for banks, but for everyone. And in this market where everyone is looking for a company that is actually inflation proof, well, you know that banks can really play an important role. And that's what is about to happen if you've been following this channel about inflation and the Fed changing their interest rate. Other reasons for loving Bank of America stock are that they actually repurchase their own stock. So as a company that has actually got a lot of cash flow coming through, and they can actually deploy cash in very much everything, so they can also spend money to repurchase their own stock, basically driving the price up. And that's what they've been doing over the last years, not just in the last period, but it's something that is very important and that can actually lead to the price going up. This is a stock that has been going up over the last 20 years, guys. On top of that, these companies got a lot of firepower. Look at the amount of cash they have. This is insane to just look at. $260 billion. That is on their balance sheet. This is an awful lot of cash. And all this cash can be deployed and used to fund their own business and potentially even buy some more common stock. So the question is now a good time to buy Bank of America? That is a very important question, and it's really hard to time the market. But there are a number of gurus who've been buying this stock and they've got a lot of money in it. So let's have a look at what they are actually holding in terms of average price, in terms of everything, because that's the kind of people who can actually tell us when to buy. So these are all the super investors, basically people who've got very much massive portfolios and they've bought Bank of America. So you see Charlie Munger, then Lee Lu, and Warren Buffett. And for some reason they actually have put Warren Buffett in this position, but he is the one person with the highest number of shares of Bank of America. So as you can see, Charlie Munger is the other guy with Warren Buffett, and he's got actually 43% of Bank of America relative to his portfolio, obviously. But what's really important and why I'm looking at this website, if you want to write it down, is Dataroma. Well, Dataroma is just totally free, and I'm using it to just have a look at it. And as you can see, the whole price as overall for these guys, for the super investor, is $41. That is actually quite good. We're not too far from it. If you're looking at buying Bank of America, probably a very good broker that you can use is FREETRADE. Get yourself an account using the first link in the description below. But if you're looking at buying at the right price, well, I would use the $41, which is roughly the average price that these guys, the super investors, the Charlie Munger, the Warren Buffett, and all the other guys, and that means that you are in theory buying at a much better price and you're more protected against downside. At the time of recording, the stock is at $46, and that is after a massive earnings. Very good for them. But so as you can see, what we could do and what I'm looking at doing is to wait a little bit for a pullback, which seems to be quite normal for this company, because it seems that, you know, it's a pretty stable one and it keeps going up and down. So it's quite probable that it will come down back to the $41, which is the price that I'm looking at buying. Thank you for watching.